All right, so yeah, and I'll give you the information about like where you can find this.
Okay.
So this is Haley, and she's heard the question, but I'll run it by for the sake of the camera.
Yeah.
We don't even have to talk to the camera. So.
Okay.
So what do you think happens after this life? What do you think comes next?
So this is gonna sound odd, but I wasn't raised like religious or anything. I wasn't baptized or anything like that. But I did have like a dream in a sense where I like very much felt like I died, and I was able to like basically go through death and after death. It was very strange because I don't know, I've talked to people before and they're like, yeah, usually you're not supposed to dream that.
Yeah,
I guess
right.
so. I'm like, okay,
Maybe
well, I dreamt it.
You probably didn't dream the experience of dying?
No, it was like I was in a hospital bed, like about to die, and then I basically like, it felt like I got to view my entire life, but in like a moment. Like everything that's ever happened in my life, and like I was very at peace with like everything, like good, bad. Like I was able to just like have peace with that, and then I died, and then I was like basically just like floating in a lake, and I was just like, there was like nothing around, but it was like very serene. So I don't think that's necessarily exactly what happens, but I guess I didn't really necessarily like think too much about the afterlife until I had that dream, and it made me, I guess, feel more at peace, like knowing that it's going to be a peaceful experience. It doesn't
have to be scary
or
whatever.
That I'd be okay with whatever happens after, essentially. Yeah.
So was that recently, or?
This was like 5 years ago maybe or so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Did it make you start, so like you're more at peace with your mortality, right?
Yes.
Did it make you start to take, say, spirituality more seriously?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things like, for me, I've had experience of going to several different religious churches. Like I've gone to a Catholic church, a Christian church, a Baptist church, just with friends and things. And there's definitely parts of that like I've tried to see more of what I can agree with people on in those settings versus like what maybe I don't see eye to eye on, or I don't think maybe actually happened, or whatever it is. It's more of like kind of we have the same like end goal in mind, which is to have that piece of what happens after life and everything. So
it sounds like you're very open-minded.
Yes, very.
And maybe more
I try
so
to be.
now.
Yeah, I try to be.
Now, when you say didn't have that kind of, I think you said you didn't really have a religious upbringing or whatever?
Yeah, my mom was Catholic and my dad was Lutheran, I think. And basically, like, they just never baptized me. We never really went to churches. We had like conversations about it, and they were never like, God isn't real. Like that was never the case at all. It was more just like, what do you think? Like, and they kind of gave me that freedom to grow up and like explore different things, which I do like. I think probably they could have like not educated me, but like given me more background, because I'd go to like friends' houses and they'd like say grace, and I was like, wait, what is going on? Or like even like my boyfriend, his family is very religious. They're Catholic, and there's only times where I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about right now, like the whole like saying praying and everything. So like those things, I used to feel very like, I guess, self-conscious going to church, and probably what made me not want to go is because I didn't know those things. I felt like very much like
there's actually like certain like unwritten rules
that I didn't know about, so that for me personally, like has always kind of been something that made me feel like not awkward, but just like, oh, like I'm not as good as them because I don't know these things, when like that
like
really
an outsider.
Yeah, exactly. And like that shouldn't, that's like the exact opposite of what like my idea of church is supposed to be. So it's like it's always been like something I've not struggled with, but just like something that's harder for me to like feel comfortable maybe in a church, because I feel like, oh, well, like you weren't baptized, like you didn't grow up with this kind of background, and like you don't know these things, so like you're not like a real spiritual person, or you can't believe certain things. So I'm
kind of like I'm Christian, but I'm not Catholic, so I'm kind of in the same place. Like, so especially like highly ritualistic churches like a Catholic church, where you're kind of expected to do certain things. Like I know that a lot of it's very symbolic, and I know that the different things that they do have meaning.
Yeah, and it's like you don't want to disrespect them. Like, I feel like maybe that's how it comes across. Well, like, you don't know these things, so like you're disrespecting like our beliefs. And it's like that is not it at all. It's just I don't know what I don't know. So like, I don't know what you're doing. It's not that I'm like trying to be disrespectful of what you're doing. It's just I have no idea what that is because I've never been around that.
So a lot of churches now will try to be what they call seeker friendly or sensitive to outsiders or newcomers. Yeah. And so they'll do, for example, like our church, before the sermon, we read the passage from the Bible that the sermon is based on, and we stand for that.
Okay.
And I would imagine a newcomer would be like, why did we do that, right?
Yeah.
And so we say we're standing now to show reverence to God's word, you know. And so will you stand with us? And so we stand, you know,
and give kind of context.
And so so I feel like that's kind of important, is, you know, just to be aware that not everybody knows what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And, so just to kind of explain it as we go.
Yeah.
But if you grew up in it, like in the Catholic Church, you know they have I grew
confirmation,
up Lutheran, and we had confirmation classes. And
I never did any of that. Like my friends had like what is it called?
Catechism,
like and all that stuff. Like I never knew like what they were doing or anything. So it was like that part of like when I was a kid, is like certain things like that came up and it was like very confusing, and I'm like, oh, like am I supposed to be doing something? Like am I missing something? Like does this make me like not a good person because I'm not doing what these other kids are doing? So like I think I never have been like angry necessarily or have like negative feelings toward church, but it's always just been something that's kind of like I don't know how to take this, like because I've had like mixed feelings with it kind of growing up. Not necessarily that my parents taught me or anything. It's just like from feeling like, oh, like there's something wrong with me because like I'm not doing this. But
and there's a lot of different denominations within Christianity, and most of them have their unwritten rules. You know. Traditions. You know, so it's different times of the year too. It's not just like every Sunday. It's like so you kind of have to know that. For me, so I'm a Christian. I read the Bible, so like I view the Bible as like that's the final authority, right? And so I kind of stand outside of the church traditions, and I actually look at them from kind of not in a negative way, but a critical point of view by saying, is that according to the Bible? You know, and some of the traditions are, and they're really good and they're helpful, especially when you start to understand why they do the certain things. And some are not. You know, some are like totally like, where did that come from? Some weird thing that happened in their history, and they're still doing it. You know? And so I have to say, well, reading the Bible for myself has given me the confidence to, I don't want to say I'm judgmental, but to know whether or not when I go to a new church, to know whether or not maybe I should feel bad for not doing that particular tradition or that sort of thing. So it's Kaylee, you said? Haley.
Yeah.
Would you say you believe in God? Like just getting beyond like religion and just like spiritually speaking, would you say you believe that in a creator? You know, a God?
Yes. I definitely believe in that. For me personally, like, again, it's something I can't be like, well, I don't believe in the Bible because I haven't read it, so I can't say like, well, I don't believe. I think there's certain things in there that personally, like, morally for me, I don't agree with, or maybe how they're being interpreted, I don't agree with. Like, I'm very much an open-minded person, and I think like there's definitely certain things that like, based on what I think like the creator is supposed to like represent, like love, acceptance, forgiveness, like all these things, and then there's definitely things that again, I haven't read it, so I can't say for sure not if it's in there, but like just maybe the way people are interpreting it don't really match that. And so it just, for me, like that's something that like I don't agree with necessarily. It's like I accept all people for who they are and who they love and like what they believe in, and like I'm not the one to judge those people. Like that's not why I'm here. I'm here to do good things for this world and not just put people down because they view something different than me. So so that's where I've like only had the issue with, like, I guess the Bible's like just hearing how some people I guess maybe interpret it or go from there and like kind of go down like a rabbit hole, and it's like, well, from what like the basis of what I've always gotten from religion is supposed to be God accepts everyone, forgives everyone, loves everyone. So it's like, how could you be so spiteful to somebody you probably don't even know over something so trivial? Like, when that's exactly against what, like, this whole thing's about. So so that's always been something I've struggled with, for sure.
So, is there any... Do you have any plans to read the Bible for yourself?
I mean, I would definitely have to do, like, a dumbified version, I think, just because I'm not used to even just, like, the language that's in the Bible. Like, it's the way it's written. Like, I'm not even used to that. So it's like, I need to understand that, I think, first in order to, like, fully interpret what it's saying properly.
The nice thing about it is there's a lot of translations where they're trying to put it in modern language. So not just the King James.
The things that's more digestible, which I'm happy to do the work to, like, understand it. It's just, like, kind of getting to that point where I understand, like, what it's actually saying. And I think that's probably some of, like, the issues that come up with people in general is, like, they're reading it in a way that's maybe not the way it's supposed to be taken. So it's just, it can go in other different directions too. So
I'm trying to figure this out because the Bible is a huge book. It's actually a huge collection of books. And I've been telling people, think of it as like a library. You don't go to the library and read all the books in alphabetical order. You know, you gravitate towards the ones you're interested in. And so I think that probably should be how people read the Bible. Like, read the parts.
Because it's kind of intimidating if you're like, I need to read this, like, start to finish. I mean, in your mind, you're like, I need to do this all in one sitting to, like, understand what's going on. So it's like, well, you know, do I have time to just dedicate to reading this entire book in one sitting? No, but it's like, if you make it more, you know.
It's kind of like the people who are motivated to read the whole Bible have enough of an understanding of it that's what gave them their motivation. And so people that encounter others who have bad interpretations of it, like you're saying, or maybe it's hard to understand. The other thing that I'm rethinking now, because I've been telling people it's like it's a whole collection of books. You know, don't just. But what the Bible claims for itself, and what I believe the more I read it, is that God has inspired its authors. There's like 40 different authors. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I didn't know that.
But so they're all speaking about this controversial topic, religion. And there's this harmony, you know, where it all fits together, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And the more I see that, the more I realize there's one author, it's God, that's inspiring them all. You know? And so if you read just like one part of the Bible, you could actually read that part out of context and not get the whole picture. So
it's
I want to encourage people to read the whole Bible, yet at the same time they don't have the motivation to do so unless they have that understanding,
that background information.
And so so I do know that
Which Bible is this?
What's that?
Which Bible is this?
Like which version of the Bible? Is that what you're saying?
Because it's all. All, like,
I was just saying there are different versions, and some are written to help us understand them. You know, Christian. Well, let me talk to you in a minute. How's that sound?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Worries.
You're good.
No worries. I'll get back to you, because actually we're doing like a little video, and
no, you're good.
Get back to you.
You're good.
I'll get right back to you.
I'm sorry.
I'll wrap this up real quick. I'm Jeff. I'll be right with you, Cameron. I'll look for you.
If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'll see you again. I'll see you again around.
No, I don't mean to.
I'll be here for a while.
Okay.
No, you're okay.
Okay, but good questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay, I'll catch up to you. So what I was going to say, though, is most people that have negative opinions of the Bible haven't read it for themselves, or they haven't read enough of it for themselves to really, and so they're basing those negative opinions on the negative opinions of others.
Exactly. And that's again.
So I try to say, read it for yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, and that's definitely the thing that I try to like separates, like, just because somebody else read it like that doesn't mean that's actually what's in there. Like, the news, anything could be taken out of context and gone to fit someone else's opinion or agenda. So it's like trying to separate, like, okay, like, I know for a fact I haven't read it, so like I can't say for sure or not if that is what's actually in there. So it's more just like trying to, I guess, represent my opinion in a way that doesn't make it seem like, well, just because this person said I believe them and like that's what's in it and I hate this, and like generalize it, because I don't think that's true at all. It's just kind of separating the two and like doing my own kind of research, but you know, looking into it. So
well, I want to respect your time.
Yeah, no worries.
So I'm going to give you something it's based on the Bible.
Okay.
And it kind of sums up the basic message of the Bible.
Awesome.
But at the same time, I want to say, but read the Bible for yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think you'll like
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
And here's my let's see, here's my card. I go to a church nearby, and that's my YouTube channel.
Awesome.
So.
I'll check it out. Thank
All right.
you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Find Cameron.
Yeah, where'd Cameron go?